It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. They recently released a very interesting new teaser for the bonus episodes of Season 10. There's actually a few new shots that we haven't seen in any other trailer, as well as a little bit more dialogue that we haven't heard before. But aside from that, there's actually some interesting texts that appear on this teaser that leads me to think that we might actually see some sort of a storyline in these bonus episodes that's meant to kind of further advance character development for some of the key characters in these bonus episodes. I'll explain a bit more about that once we get into this video. Stay tuned, we'll be right back to break it all down. Alright, as always, if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to join our community, share and smash the like button, and press the bell to be notified when we upload. Alright, so the teaser starts with this cool shot of Gabriel and Aaron. The text that appears is "The past will never die." And then we have this shot of Aaron opening a door. In the voiceover, we have dialogue from a new character who's going to be portrayed by Robert Patrick. This character's name is Maze. He says, "There's nothing left in this world but thieves and murderers." And then we have this other shot of Gabriel and Aaron entering the building. And then this shot of Maze right here. Obviously, we know that there's going to be a Aaron and Gabriel centric episode. And in this episode, they're going to run across this new character named Maze. Now, we don't know exactly what he's going to do and whether he's going to be a friend or a foe, but there is some very interesting stuff going on. Leads me to think that he might not have good intentions. Let's just say that. But then we have this shot of Maze spinning the revolver cylinder as if he's playing some sort of a Russian roulette game. This actually further proves a theory that we had, which is that Maze is gonna participate in some sort of a Russian roulette game with Father Gabriel and Aaron. So that's very interesting. Now, keep this in mind, the Russian roulette concept. Remember also what Maze said in the dialogue. The world is filled with thieves and murderers, because that comes back around. So keep those two in mind. I'll circle back around. Then we have this shot of Daryl Dixon, and the text that appears is Hunter. And then another shot of Daryl and Leah, who's going to be a new character that Daryl is going to run into in a flashback in a past storyline, and it says friend on top of it. So that's interesting. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Leah and her possible connection to Daryl. I'm not going to talk about that here, but if you've been following that kind of discussion, you know exactly what story I'm talking about. So the text friend pretty much fits that kind of discussion that we've had for a while now. And then we have this shot of Leah saying, "Always the hero, huh?" And she's obviously talking to Daryl here in a flashback scene. That's very interesting. So the fact that she's saying always a hero leads me to think that maybe there's some sort of a connection with Rick. Because obviously we know that Daryl finds Leah in the past during the time when Rick disappears and when Daryl leaves the group. So could this possibly be a hint that Daryl is looking for Rick and Leah is calling Daryl a quote-unquote hero because of that? That remains to be seen, but I think that there's definitely some sort of a hint here about that. Then we have this shot of Carol with the text leader, and then it changes to another shot of Carol, and then the text that appears is loner. So that's very interesting. It leads me to think that what they're trying to say is Carol, who was once a leader, has now turned into a loner because of some of the decisions she's recently made. We know that she's going to have a falling out with Daryl. There's going to be a verbal argument between them, and that could further back up this kind of discussion around Carol turning into a loner now. And then we have this shot of Daryl talking to Carol. Carol says, "Our luck's run out, you and me." And then Daryl says, "Because you never know when to stop." Obviously, this might connect to the verbal argument Daryl and Carol might have as well. So that's very interesting. And then we have this shot of Carol taking out her knife. And then we have this shot of Carol. And then we have Negan with the text monsters. So what they're trying to get at here, I think, is Negan was a monster or is still a monster, but he was once a husband hence why we see a flashback of Negan, a much younger Negan obviously, with Lucille, his ex-wife, before the outbreak, and she appears to have some sort of a scarf on her head, hinting that she might have lost her hair because of her cancer. And then we have this shot of Negan and Lucille with a wig on. In the voiceover, Lucille says, "I stuck with you because I could always see the man you are now." And then we have this shot of Negan with tears in his eyes. Obviously a much different side of Negan than we've seen before. So it's going to be interesting to see where they're going to go with their story and with that flashback. And then we have this shot of Lucille kissing Negan. And then it changes to a shot of Aaron hugging Gracie, and then the text that appears is father. That's very interesting. And then it says fighter. So father turned fighter, which is very, very interesting. And then we have this shot of Aaron, I think talking to Gabriel. He says, "Helping people, that felt right." So Aaron is just basically remembering the man he used to be, which goes back to what this teaser is, I think. This teaser is just telling us what people used to be and what they've turned into, or the things that people have had to do in order to survive. And I think this definitely connects to that discussion. Then we have this shot of Princess with the text soldier, and then we have this shot of Princess in a train cart with the text that says prisoner. Obviously she was taken as a prisoner by the Commonwealth soldiers alongside Eugene, Yumiko, and King Ezekiel. And then we have this shot of Princess running away. She is holding a weapon. Not sure if it's her own rifle or if it's one of the rifles that she might have snatched up from one of those Commonwealth soldiers, but we definitely know that she is going to try to escape. She's going to make a run for it. It's very likely she's not going to be successful. And then we have this shot of Maggie with Herschel Jr. And then the text that appears is protector. And I think that definitely fits Maggie. She's definitely a protector and a mother. So I think that is definitely a pretty cool and fitting description of her at the moment. And then this shot of Maggie, which I absolutely loved. This is obviously a shot from the first bonus episode as well, much like the other one. But the text that appears is vigilante. And I absolutely love that because if we think about it, Negan is kind of like an anti-hero, but I never really thought of Maggie being a vigilante, but it seems like she kind of is. Based on where the story is right now, especially with the events of the first bonus episode, it definitely kind of fits that story that they're trying to tell with Maggie. And then we have this shot of Negan talking to Carol. Carol says, "If you stay here, she will kill you," referring to Maggie, which is very, very interesting. And then we have this shot of Maggie staring into Negan's eyes. I don't know if there's going to be another one-on-one between them. It appears that there may be, so that's extremely interesting and very, very intriguing. I'm very excited to see another showdown between them, especially because the first one that we saw in the first bonus episode was kind of a letdown. And then we have this shot, which is from the first bonus episode, Maggie throwing her knife, which hits this walker in the head. And then we have this shot of Gabriel with the text saint, which definitely fits his description. He's kind of like a saint, or he used to be. And then we have this shot of Gabriel with a revolver in hand, most likely the same revolver that we saw earlier and the one that we saw in the other teasers, being pointed at Aaron's head. And then the text that appears is sinner. So saint, sinner, very interesting, especially because there's a Walking Dead game, I think, called Saint and Sinner. So that's definitely a very cool connection. Now there's something very interesting going on here. Pay attention to the texts that appeared, saint, sinner, for Gabriel. Now let's go back to what I mentioned earlier in the teaser. Maze said the world is filled with murderers and thieves. And it appears that he's going to be playing some sort of a Russian roulette game with Gabe and Aaron. What if all of those are connected? What if through this game of Russian roulette that Maze is going to force Gabe and Aaron to participate in, Father Gabriel finds out that he's no longer a saint and that he's turned into a sinner now? I don't know if that made any sense, but I think there could be some sort of a connection there. Then we have this shot of Gabriel looking at someone who I'm assuming is Maze. I'm assuming this is the first time Gabriel comes face to face with Maze. But in the voiceover, we have Gabriel saying evil people aren't the exception to the rule. They are the rule. Which goes back to what I just mentioned about Gabriel kind of having to face the reality of becoming a sinner now. We have this shot of, I think, Maze. I could be wrong, but it looks like he's carrying like an AK-47, so that's interesting. And then we have this shot of Gabriel, nothing much to say about this, with an axe, most likely killing a walker here. And then this shot of Aaron with arms of walkers inside the building trying to get at him. And then we have this shot with this text that appears that says, all you can do, and we'll see later on the rest of this text. But then we have this shot of Elijah, who's the new character that appeared at the end of 1016, who came with Maggie. We have this shot of Kelly, Maggie, and Daryl. This is taken from the first bonus episode. And then we have this text that says, is live. So all you can do now is live. And then we have this shot of Maggie and Herschel Jr. This is when they first enter Alexandria. This was at the end of 1017. This shot of the two of them. And then we have this shot with the text, with what you've become. So all you can do now is live with what you've become. Which kind of fits the theme of this teaser, I think, which is what people used to be and what they have become. And this also fits with what Gabriel was saying and what Maze mentioned earlier. So I think there is definitely a theme going on in this teaser. But in the background of this text, we can actually see a river, which obviously most likely connects to Rick somehow, and will most likely be the bonus episode that's going to be a flashback with Daryl and Leah. And then we have this shot of Daryl and Maggie trying to hold off the walkers. And then this awesome shot of Negan with what appears to be a new bat with barbed wires around it. Now this is not a younger Negan, this is an older Negan. So that's interesting. Is he going to build a new Lucille? That remains to be seen, but this is interesting. This might be taken directly from the comics as well, because in the comics, Negan begins building a new Lucille, but he changes his mind and he burns the second Lucille. So this could connect to that. And then we have this shot, an interesting shot of Carol and Jerry. And then this shot of a couple walkers alongside some sort of a rail track. This connects to a shot that we saw before with Daryl walking alongside a train track. So I think those are connected. This shot of Ezekiel inside a train cart. And then this shot of a Commonwealth soldier. And then this shot of Princess being taken by Commonwealth soldiers. And that's it. That's the end of this teaser. There was a lot to discuss, but I thought this was one of the most interesting teasers that they released. But I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. If you did, make sure to share and smash the like button. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe to join our community and press the bell to be notified when we upload. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.